Good evening. This is actually a bit of a test. I set up a channel on Facebook, rather not on Facebook, but on YouTube in an effort to create videos that for people who maybe don't have access to Facebook or don't utilize it as much as a social media platform. And also in an interest that one day perhaps I'll have an opportunity to link every platform that I use or may use and put it all in one place so that I can create one video, whether it's a live Facebook chat and then perhaps link it to YouTube, or in the alternative, start on YouTube, link it to Facebook, and perhaps, who knows, maybe even make greater use of Instagram in the future. Again, this is a bit of a test to see what it's like to create a video on YouTube and then perhaps link it to Facebook and see how that works. One of the subjects for Saturday, I sent out a post early in the morning before I got started during the day to ask about what kinds of things people want to talk about today, and one of the things that came up was a conversation, two things. One that we're going to cover briefly today is natural hair. What are the pros and cons, and also what would be, is there a downside? And so far, I think mainly just my answer for me is that so far there hasn't been a downside. I've really enjoyed the journey. And today I'm wearing my hair out. The last couple of times that I've done any kind of a video, even if it was a live feed, I was featuring a hat. Today I'm featuring my hair. This is actually a simple two-strand twist out. I have it pulled up in the back and pinned up so that the longer hair, my hair is longer in the top and in the front, and just sort of letting it sit piled on top of my head, sort of doing a sideshow bob, doing its own thing kind of vibe today. And I've been enjoying it. It's a change of pace. Normally I wear wash and go with products that I've been experimenting with. And the short version, especially if anybody wants to ask about what kinds of products, with my journey so far, is that one of the upsides to a natural hair movement now is that there is such an abundance of information available online or just word of mouth, but particularly with online, everything from search engines, you can just Google information about natural hair care, and there's such an abundance of products. It's a good side and a bad side. So if anything, if you're anything like me or anyone who's either thought about it or they're on their natural hair journey, is that sometimes the abundance of information and the abundance of products can be a downside, simply because it can easily turn you into a product junkie. And I have been a very, I can confess, I have been a product junkie. However, one of the things that has been important to me, and along the way, people may come across references to categories, to categorize hair, or to talk about the type of natural curl pattern that a person has, regardless of ethnicity, background, or what your, where you're from, or what your hair is actually like. It tends to get broken down into certain categories. And for a person like myself with African American hair, it breaks down into sort of like, there are categories that I think go for all the way from 1 and then A, B, and C, 2 A, B, and C, 3 A, B, and C, and 4 A, B, and C. What I've discovered with my type of hair, and I can go into this briefly, is that all my life I've always had extremely soft, very puffy, floofy hair in its natural state. And the way I can describe it, and some people may identify with this, is that when the hair is wet and it's in its natural state, it just sort of draws up and it looks like a bag of cotton candy. It's a cotton candy texture of hair. And for a long time, I used products, bought products, and treated my hair like it was 4C, which is a much tighter, more coarse curl. And most of the information that I found discussed hair in 4C state. So I would actually, everything from products that I used to oils to the way I treated my hair was in a 4C condition, like it was incredibly coarse. Ultimately, I discovered a couple of things. One is my hair is actually 4B, which is a better description for that cotton candy type of hair. And I also discovered that somehow there's an abundance of more information on 4C hair and how to treat it and what to do with it, as opposed to 4B. So it's a little fewer and far between. So I've had to narrow my searches to 4B hair, and I've created categories, especially if you have access to Pinterest, or if you're inclined to even just do a search on your own. If you have that cotton candy hair, if that resonates with you, or if you identify with your hair looking like that, you may have 4B hair as opposed to 4A or 4C. It's that weird cotton candy stuff that doesn't seem to want to do anything in particular when it's wet. So rest assured, there is something you can do with your hair. And once you start finding products that suit your hair and your hair type, you're really on your way. But back to the product junkie thing. The other issue that I found out is not so much whether you are for A, for B, for C, or any of that. The curl pattern that I've discovered is not so much an issue. What I've discovered that's really made a difference for me was discovering the porosity of my hair. Porosity is different from curl pattern, and it really doesn't have anything to do with curl pattern. What it has to do, and I'm sure there are better descriptions, but the way I can describe porosity is how open your cuticle, the hair cuticle is, and how well it absorbs and retains moisture. Moisture is different from utilizing oils that you put on your hair, but porosity, at least for me, has been a better indicator of what kinds of products, as well as ingredients and things in products, even natural products, even oils, that work better on my hair and are more compatible with my hair than the type of curl pattern that I have. And the distinction between the two, in order to find out if you have and porosity is low porosity or high porosity. Brief description is, and again, you can Google it, you can do searches, and they're much better or more detailed examples of what that is. But porosity has to do, again, with how open your cuticle is and how well it takes in moisture and retains moisture, and how much does it take to keep the hair follicle moisturized. Low porosity is where the hair cuticle is a lot tighter, and everything from oils, moisturizers, products, it doesn't take a lot to moisturize the hair. Not only that, but if the molecules in those products are really big, the hair can't really absorb it. So all you're doing is the product is just laying on top of the hair and weighing it down. And also your hair just isn't going to respond to it as well, because it isn't as suitable for your hair type. High porosity is where the cuticle is very open, and like if you're a person where your hair just seems to stay very dry, and you can keep putting moisture, you can keep putting water in products, and your hair just soaks it up, and you're always struggling to keep it moisturized, and then your hair feels dry, then you may have high porosity hair. And you can use products or heavier oils or heavier products or ingredients that can really absorb, that your hair can really absorb and take in, and really nurtures and moisturizes the hair and really feeds it, and your hair responds well to it. For example, high porosity, well, let's back up a bit. To determine which type of porosity your hair is a really simple test. Make sure that your hair is clean, doesn't have any products on it. So you can do this right after you've washed your hair, before you put any product or conditioner on it. You can take a single strand of clean hair, get a clear glass of water. It can be room temperature, it doesn't matter what the temperature is. You drop that hair into the glass of water and just watch it for a few minutes and just let it sit. If that strand of hair floats on the top, at the top of the water in the glass, then you have low porosity hair, meaning that it doesn't require a whole lot of moisture or anything heavy. The cuticle is relatively closed, and you can actually use lighter products, oils, conditioners, and just products, and your hair will be able to take it in, and your hair does better and it responds better because it doesn't require a whole lot of moisture or oils or heavy ingredients. That's low porosity. High porosity is if that strand of hair after a couple of minutes actually sinks to the bottom. That means that hair follicle is soaking up a lot of water and it's taking in a lot of moisture. So that's a high porosity hair follicle. And you can use heavier products, heavier ingredients, things such as maybe, like what comes to mind is black castor oil. That's a heavier oil. People may hear about that a lot as being an excellent product to use. And yes, overall it is a really terrific product to use, but sometimes it might be a bit too heavy for certain types of hair. And again, it has nothing to do with the curl pattern or the coarseness of your hair, but it really will have much more to do with the porosity of the hair. So once I discovered that my hair in particular is low porosity, I was able to, all of a sudden, I'm not as big a product junkie anymore, because I'm not constantly buying products trying to find a magic bullet item or product that's just going to all of a sudden do wonders and make my hair do magical things. Once I discovered my hair was low porosity, then I went on and researched what types of ingredients and materials, whether it's a product or an oil, suits low porosity hair better. And once I discovered that, for example, things like honey, almond oil, carrot oil, avocado oil, did I say olive oil already? Items like that, that's when I found that, and then I researched what products, or then I just read labels. You can go to the store, or if you're looking for certain products or a certain brand, you can just look and start reading labels. And it comes down to reading labels. And once you can identify products that contain the ingredients that suit the porosity of your hair, at least for me, I can say that is what worked a lot better for me. So lately, what I've been using are TGIN products, and I think it's short for Thank Goodness I'm Natural, TGIN. And because that product line has things like olive oil and honey and lighter ingredients, and my hair has responded a lot better. I have to do less work. I don't have to work as hard to get my hair to develop its curl pattern. And when I use these products, my hair stays moisturized. I don't have to deal with roughness or dryness or the hair feeling like it's drying out over a period of a week or more. And I've had fewer issues, and it's just less work. So that's my 2 cents on the subject of hair care. Just a primer, just something to get your feet wet, and hopefully people will be able to, the takeaway is take a look at the type of porosity that your hair has. So again, don't necessarily get hung up on curl pattern. Curl pattern is not really the issue. A lot of times there's a lot of discussion online of people talking about certain brands of products, like for example, Shea Moisture is very popular. It's widely available, but for me personally, the Shea Moisture products are good. However, a lot of times they have products that are a little too heavy for the porosity of my hair. And I've used Shea Moisture products. I've also used As I Am products. I've also used Eden products. I mean, you name it, I've probably picked it up and tried it. And I've got a closet full of things that are just sitting, and I might revisit them every once in a while, but it turns out a lot of these very popular brands may or may not necessarily, a lot of them had ingredients that were a little too heavy for my hair. So lately it's been TGIN for me. And I think there's another line, and it escapes me right now, maybe Tilio Wajid. But the names of some of the others escape me. But lately that's what I've been using, and I've been having a lot of success with it. I hope that people find that relevant. I hope that they find it interesting. And again, a lot of it comes down to reading labels, but take the time to discover the porosity of your hair, and feel free to look back on this, on the video, rewind it, and if you want to listen again to or watch the segment about like how to check out porosity, feel free to do that. The alternative is you can always Google it or look it up online and look for how to just determine your porosity of hair. And I don't know, to be fair, I don't know whether or not if a person who chemically processes their hair, I don't know if that is going to make a difference. But at least for natural hair, the porosity test I have found to be extremely beneficial. And I hope that you find it useful as well. Well, that's my time. I didn't want to go too far into anything, but again, this is a test, and hopefully I'll have an opportunity to link this to Facebook. Also, what I would like to be able to do long term is create a channel and just sort of develop a separate, just a place to park all of these videos, whether it's a live stream or whether it's a pre-recorded clip. I want to be able to park them in a particular spot so that people can just find everything in one area, because on my personal page, I tend to just put a lot of just a mishmash, just a stream of consciousness of video clips and memes and that type of thing. But if you simply want to stick with certain subjects that come up during the course of a weekend or during the course of a clip, then I just want to be able to park all of that information in one spot, so it's a little easier to sift through that information as opposed to going through everything on my page. So hopefully you find this interesting. I'm going to play with this clip a little bit more, and again, hopefully be able to make it available on Facebook. And I, again, may even create a separate channel so that all of these clips will eventually have a home, and I just have to sort that out. So if people are interested, please feel free to give feedback, including different formats or places where you would like to see these clips available, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. I want to get my feet wet with Instagram. I have an Instagram account, but I haven't done much with it. So to be fair, part of this is going to be one big experiment, and to see where it goes. So thanks so much. Thanks for bringing up the ideas. And again, if people have ideas or things that you would like to see get discussed in these clips, or if you want to get deeper into a particular subject, happy to be able to do that. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there.